this guy. Oh my God, what the hell is this? He's gonna try it. And will this be enough? My God, ready to take from that. 1, 2.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ruckus Wrestling. I'm Josh Mabry, alongside my tag team partner in this journey, Justin Toner. A lot of wrestling to talk about, but how are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous, just like Timeless Tony here is doing this past week.
Yeah.
Just back on top.
Yep. And just a preview of what we're thinking. AEW on a little bit of a hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
On a little bit of a hot streak. But we're not going to get into that first. Speaking about AEW and questionable booking, talent came out today. It's how it always happens when we go live on Thursday, which typically is an off day, but TNA starting to cook up. So we kind of talk about TNA because it goes on as we're doing.
TNA's got a live episode tonight, and they've already thrown a bunch of stuff.
With North Quarter and the Hardys are going to be on WWE television again. We'll get into that. But the main thing is people are now starting. I think the honeymoon phase is over. In the Triple H run era, which is fine. It happens all the time. Okay, something new, something fresh. Same thing. AEW went through it. AEW starting to cook again, and Triple H right now, this is kind of unfortunately the tale as old as time. Is he's getting questioned? Obviously, with the lead into WrestleMania right now, people are starting to question it. Everything's kind of all over the place. I have my theories behind it, but the main thing that's come out today is his booking of the women's division, the main roster. Okay, because there is a difference there between NXT and WWE and the main roster. Yeah. And I slightly agree, but it's not with the lack of them introducing mid-card titles with the U.S. title, which Chelsea Green is taking that to another level. And then you have the Intercontinental title with Lyra Valkyria, which is underwhelming right now. We'll call a spade on that. The tag team division is kind of all over the place. They never really seem like they found their footing there. Really don't know what we're getting with Rhea because they basically just ran that Rhea Liv thing till it was over, and then they kept going with it. That thing jumped the shark like 7 times, especially in the cage with Dom in the cage. That's what it did.
They stretched out the Rhea Liv feud a longer than it should have been.
Yeah, and the other thing is...
And now people are worried it's going to get reignited if Liv wins the Elimination Chamber.
Right. So, and then the Tiffy Charlotte stuff is fine, but it's not... It just doesn't... It's not hitting.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's like right now with WrestleMania season... There isn't as much like excitement as last year because last year The Rock came in and just effed everything up. And we had all this intrigue and drama going on both in front of the camera and behind the camera. Mm-hmm. And that added to a lot of the excitement, and we ended up having a great Mania for WrestleMania 40. This year, we're probably going to get some great matches. And Jane Gunther's in both. We already got 2 locked in. We get Jane Gunther and Tiffany Charlotte, and both those matches are going to be very, very good to excellent. Mm-hmm. But as far as like hype and excitement, there hasn't been that yet. We'll see if they can get there after Elimination Chamber, because then we're going to have a little more clarity about the other 2 big title matches for who's going to face Rhea and Cody at WrestleMania. And maybe get a little more clear about some of the other stuff that may happen as a result of what's going to happen in the chamber matches. We definitely have some ideas, inklings for both the men and the women, where things might go and all that. But so there was a report came out from Frightful today, Sean Ross Sapp and Company, that they've been hearing from a lot of women's talent that they've been very frustrated about the booking lately, and that apparently several creative ideas for Mania have been shot down by some of the women as being like, no, thank you. Which is not a good sign.
No.
And so it brought up a discussion about how things are in the state of women's division. Now, we're going to put NXT to the side because NXT women's division is completely separate from how Raw and SmackDown are at this time. Now there have been some, we've had some good and we had some bad. So like the Rhea Liv feud started out really great. It kind of stretched out a little bit too long, but then they stuck the landing and it's like, and we moved on now. It's like there's hints that may happen, but I don't think they're going to go there. I don't think Liv is going to win the Elimination Chamber. I'll save my thoughts later. But I mean, it felt like they dragged Tiffany cashing in a little bit longer than maybe we would have liked, but the payoff was worth it. Yeah. The fans went nuts.
The way they did it too.
Yeah, the way they did it, that ended up working out. Now in the mid-card, we've got these two new mid-card titles, which was a great idea. Give opportunity for other women. But the booking for both has not been the best. Now, Chelsea has been, because of who she's got, her personality and what she can do.
Chelsea is getting that.
He's doing all right despite the booking because of what she can do, both in and outside the ring. I mean, like, did you see her post on social media where she issued like an executive order banning a specific move after what happened last week? It's like
and then she said she did like a cease and desist to Michin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I shared it on our Discord, which link down below.
He's playing up the gimmick really good.
Yeah.
On the, it's like they haven't really given much to Lyra yet, and so we're gonna have to wait and see. But like last week, both Lyra and Chelsea Green were in Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. They both lost clean in non-title situations. You shouldn't be doing that to brand new champions. These Chelsea and Lyra have made history. They're the first women's mid-card champions with these two titles. They should be winning matches, being built up, not being used as cannon fodder to set up the Elimination Chamber.
I feel like at this point we're changing our show name from Ruckus Wrastlin to "Don't Pin Your Champions." Like I just don't. And
we had the same complaint with DIY losing that non-title match to Pretty Deadly to set up the title match.
That one I kind of let it slide just to build up Pretty Deadly, but you don't need them to pin your champion to build up Pretty Deadly,
right? Because that storyline has been going on for a while now.
Right, they're getting the back and forth.
So there's no why did Lyra and Chelsea both have to be in these qualifying matches and lose? It's like there's other women on the roster they could have put in those slots to let Bayley and Naomi win to get into the chamber. Yeah. It's like, so it's like it gives a bad impression. It's like you just created these titles, you crown these women, and it's like it's this big historic moment. And then they're losing clean in non-title situations.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on?
And Lyra, it's just there.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to get the woos with their entrance and stuff, but it's like the way you're presenting it.
You need to do what Chelsea is. It's like Chelsea she understands that you got to have a gimmick and a personality and it's like that's why she does so well. She understands that, and she takes the opportunities that she's given and runs for touchdowns. Now they got to give Lyra something to be able to build a little bit more character for herself, so that the fans can be able to connect to her a little bit more. It's like so. When I saw this, I was not surprised because of just what's been going on lately. I don't blame some of the women for being frustrated. Now, when it comes to NXT, NXT Women's Division booking isn't perfect either, but the champions are treated like the champions. It's like, look at the run Roxanne had last year. When she won the title, she was booked very strongly. It's like she rarely lost in a non-title fashion. It's like not until near the end where it's like she had to took one or two, but that was setting up the eventual rematch with Julia where she beat her for the title. But she had lots of title defenses, great matches, and she was winning matches. So it's like And they're doing the same with Julia. And then, it's like, and we're going to get to, what happened with, Stephanie winning at Vengeance Day in a bit. But it's like, they're the champs and they're treated like champs. It's like, so it's like, there's a definitely clear difference. And plus, even though not all of them work, there's a lot of storylines for the other women in NXT outside the title picture. We've got this whole, odd couple friendship tag team going on with Soul Worker and Zarya. Wasn't sure where it's going. I'm kind of starting to dig it a little bit now, especially after this last week, especially with the video they did where they were trying to bond. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that you need to do. It's like, that's the kind of, you need to do those kind of things more often to get to get the fans to be like, oh, okay, now I see what's going on here. It's like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You also had the whole story. I didn't care for it. At least Carmen Factory had this whole romance storyline with Ashante that's going on. It's like the feud between Fatal Influence, a lot of other people has been going on.
Chemical X.
Yep. And you got this feud between Jada Parker and Kalani. There's lots of storylines going on. Whereas on the main roster, it feels like even with the big card titles, it doesn't feel like it's like there's a lot of other action going on. And even with like Chelsea, yeah, she had the feud with Michin, which made sense, but it's kind of like they've already gone to that well too much already, because it's like she beat her in the finals of the tournament, and then for some weird reason they did a rematch again really quickly, and she lost again. So it's like, well, if you eventually want her to win the title, now you're going to have to push that back quite a ways and kind of build Mia back up to be a serious contender, since she's already lost to her more than once lately in these title matches. And so,
it feels like they're, as far as their mid-card titles that they had, it feels like kind of what AEW went through there for a second. This past where Timeless finally came back and oh gosh, help me out. Who faced Mercedes? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on her.
Harley Cameron.
Harley Cameron. If it wasn't for, because at first it was just like Mercedes fight this person. Okay, now you beat her. She goes back to the line. All right, fight this person. And everyone's just like, why should we care? Like, you're not building up anyone else.
They're just throwing people at her, and it's like, and you could tell this was just like, oh yeah, here's it's just another title match. It's like,
dang it, Jeremy. All right, what the? Come on, why? We're in the middle of a really good discussion, and then you throw that in there.
We didn't know, but we appreciate it.
We'll get to that in a second, because my whole thing about how this weird booking WrestleMania thing kind of deals with him. But I am not going to get sidetracked by that really good news, okay, that you just dropped on us. So getting back to my point with, it was kind of the same thing. And it was kind of the thing with Mariah May. Like, she really didn't have a solid opponent. We're all just waiting for Timeless to come back. Timeless came back, and no, to be apologized, Jeremy. We're going to get to it. That's why we like everyone contributing in the chat. And that's why we go live. So if we can't see something, you can let us know. You can have our live reaction. Makes for good content. But once Timeless came back, and she did her little, and Tony did her whole little like rookie thing, and then she switched to Timeless, and then that match blew the doors off, because Mariah May is still awesome, right? And Mercedes really didn't have. We're like, oh, Willow, that makes sense. Okay, and then Chris Statlander, oh, that makes sense. And then she would just beat them every single time. And it wasn't like that. The Chris Statlander Mercedes match was awesome, but Mercedes won again. Kind of same thing with Harley Cameron, and that's where, unfortunately, WWE is in with their women's division, because if you think about the Royal Rumbles. Okay, think about this for a second. Going into the men's Royal Rumble, we're like, oh, these guys are talking with this guy, and then like they're all announcing they've got all these things going on, all these intertwined stories and stuff to really hype up, the biggest Royal Rumble in history. Meanwhile, the women came out, and then Charlotte won. Yeah, if you really sum it up, like women came out. Boom, boom, boom. Charlotte.
Yeah, it was like they went with the too obvious choice.
Right, and every little storyline that they might set up, really didn't pay off. Like when Jordan Grace
it's like,
hugged Naomi.
like how do it's like I don't know what's going on with Io. They don't put her in the chamber like I thought that was going to happen. She's getting this title match against Rhea in 2 weeks, the Raw after the Elimination Chamber, which is next weekend. So it's like I'm hoping she's going to be involved in the title picture somehow. Maybe it's a triple threat. We'll see.
I think it's a triple threat. The rumor is that Bianca's going to win it, and then I don't know, something happens to where Io gets screwed again, and then they end up booking her in the WrestleMania match or something. Because I mean, the way the story is presented in my wrestling booking mind goes into they're still having Io in the championship match at WrestleMania. It just seems you wouldn't have her. You would either have her face Rhea at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, exactly. Like where is she going to fit in during Mania? It's like it doesn't make.
You have to have. You're booking Io way too strong right now, and people are behind Io. This is probably the biggest as far as babyface wise that she's been since she's been in the WWE.
Yeah,
at least on the main roster.
This is one of the most over she's been in quite a while.
Yeah,
you know, it's like especially on the main roster.
Yeah,
so it's like you can't blow that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm glad that this report came out because it's like especially like the way that Lyra and Chelsea lost last week. I was like, what the F are you guys doing?
I don't know. I didn't get it. But then the juxtapose of Brie, like, well, there's not enough talent. Well, you just released Brie Priestley, Isla Dawn. Like you I don't like that. I don't like that face. I don't like that face.
I'll talk about it in a second.
Okay, I don't like that face.
So the major just happened on TNA Impact.
Okay. But yeah, so like you released some solid female wrestlers that you had on the main roster that you did nothing with. You signed Natalya to a long-term deal a year ago. She's just there. You still haven't made us care about that. Zelina Vega's there, and she's a great talent. She can do work on the mic.
On top of that, so the only reason I think of that they let those women go is because they're going to be calling.
Roxanne.
Other people besides Roxanne are getting called up. Probably, I assume the Metaphor duo is probably going to get called up because they've been featured heavily in the tag scene.
Because I think Roxanne. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get the Cora Jade Roxanne blow off. I think because it literally went. She took the pin. Trick took a pin, and then not to spoil anything, but just to go the overall booking of how this is going and what get your point. And then Metaphor took a pin in NXT, so it's basically like, okay, now it's time to move on.
That's why I had feeling like, oh yeah, I think they're definitely probably calling Metaphor up after what happened on this week's NXT. So,
so that's another thing too. Is like, who would you rather have, Brie Priestley or Metaphor? And the way they've been booking Metaphor and how they're really feeling
exactly,
about
Jeremy, that she definitely deserves something, and so it's like I want her back in she should be back in the title picture.
Yeah.
So before we get to the Rock news, I'm keeping an eye on Impact out of the corner of my eye here, and the system was doing a beat down on a babyface. The Hardys came out to try to stop them. They were getting beat down by the system. Then Oba Femi came up and wrecked shop. The NXT champion, Oba Femi, just appeared on Impact live in full set.
Nice. Well, when the first music hit and they like zoomed in on his face, like, is that Moose? And then I popped.
Yeah, we'll get to they're really pulling some interesting stuff here with this NXT TNA crossover stuff that I'm excited about. But okay, so while apparently not long after we went live, thank you, Jeremy, for letting us know. WWE put out a press release saying that the final boss is going to be on SmackDown tomorrow night. The Rock is going to appear on SmackDown. In the statement, Triple H says, strap in, when the final boss shows up at this time of year, the audience knows anything is possible. Anything could change in an instant. So basically they're teasing him saying or doing something. So
and it kind of leads back to what my original point was going to be about why this booking for WrestleMania doesn't have the same oomph behind it that it did a year ago or even 2 years ago. For one, you kind of leaned into the bloodline. The bloodline was so impactful. You had so many storylines that literally like vined and branched off from the bloodline that you kind of were able to do what you wanted. Once you finally let go of that, and Roman finally lost the title, people were like, okay, so now we're going to get The Rock and Cody, or The Rock and Roman. And then The Rock goes and does a movie and doesn't look like we're going to get him. And it feels like the WWE is in scramble mode. Kind of like how they pivoted when they were going to do The Rock, Roman, and said, Cody, don't worry about it. And then they swerved, and we had one of the best Rock characters ever.
Yeah.
And so
I find the timing very interesting because we got Elimination Chambers a week away. And also earlier in the day, Nick Aldis announced that, which is probably going to be the main event of SmackDown, Cody, Damian Priest, and Braun Strowman are going to take on Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga in a 6-man tag.
Yeah. What is The Rock? Is The Rock going to come in at whoever wins the Elimination Chamber, being like, "But not today. It's going to be me and Cody." It's like, sorry, what are you good? But sorry, John.
I don't think they should repeat that.
No.
Who knows what he's going to say and do? I mean, there's a lot of rumors that they're going to do WrestleMania in New Orleans next year, which would be awesome for Ricky Blank because he's from New Orleans, which would be awesome for him. And he'll be on the main roster by then for sure. So
yeah. But yeah, that's issue. And then the thing is, and going back to the juxtapose of it, of NXT booking and how the women's division is so strong, but the men's division isn't that great.
Men's division is got some holes, and Ricky Blank is definitely going to fill them in.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like you're going to lose Trick. It doesn't look like Ethan's going anywhere anytime soon, which I didn't think he was.
I don't think he's going to be called up maybe just yet. We'll see. It depends on how this feud with Javon ends. We'll see.
Right.
We'll get into more of that when we get to Vengeance Day and then.
But yeah, so I think the good news is that unlike the old regime, I feel like this regime does listen, but they won't. But also too, we're still getting used to it. You have to be patient sometimes with them, because just when you start complaining about, because think about this, Damian Priest as Senior in the Bank, how did that run really go?
Right.
If you think about it, really wasn't that great. People kept sitting there like, oh my God, when's he going to cash in? Come on, when are you going to cash in? Oh my God, when are you going to cash in? And then he finally cashed in at WrestleMania. It's like, oh my God, that was great. Tiffany was the same thing. It was just like, and then she would take pins. Damian Priest was taking pins. It was like, when's she going to cash in? And then she finally does, and everyone goes crazy, and everyone's excited. And now we get the student meets the master match because they basically have they're basically the same wrestlers with Charlotte and Tiffy. So I have faith in it because, like I said, I think they listen.
I'm gonna give them time to run. I appreciate AJ Styles sticking up for Road Dogg when news came out that apparently he's going to be co-heading creative on SmackDown. People were like, oh no, not again. And he was like, remember who was above him? And it's like he talked about getting burnt out because of who overriding all his shit. So
right.
I
Road
think
Dogg.
Let's give Road Dogg a chance under Triple H's creative direction than versus Vince. So it's like let's not pass judgment on the poor guy.
And also I did for that when Kofi Mania happened, he was like, I thought Big E should have won. I was like, in a sense, I can understand that because they're both really over. And he did eventually win it. His title run was terrible because of who. As far as that,
the cash in the moment was great, but his title reign was a fumble.
No, so I'm not too worried about Road Dogg.
Yeah,
and anything like that.
So,
and also, when I was, and which brings me to my next topic here, because Logan Paul, his right hand man and producer is Shane Helms, which makes so much sense to me as far as style.
Yes,
and he did shout him out how Shane Helms has been like his right hand man, like he's ever since, because Michael Cole kept talking about how great Logan is, and we said it last week. I'm like, it's just how quickly he's taken to it. and how
Well,
good
we
he
got
is.
someone like the Hurricane, who's a really good teacher.
Yes.
We've seen in a producer over the years.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But Michael Cole was on Logan Paul. It was a really good interview.
Okay, you want to talk about Cole on Impulsive?
Right. So it was a really great interview. I always enjoy those interviews with Logan and a wrestler, because they kind of stay kayfabe but not stay kayfabe at the same time. And then Mike always comes in with the I don't know anything about wrestling question. So like we would be like, oh come on Mike, you don't know, but he doesn't. So he acts like the casual fan, like he enjoys it, but he's still trying to figure out. So I like that dynamic when it comes to them interviewing wrestlers. And we had Michael Cole, because then they kind of teased about Tiffy was supposed to do it, but then she shunned him. This was right after the Royal Rumbles when they filmed this. As far as time wise, Michael Cole did say that he has 8 years left on his contract, which who knows? It just depends on how
he's kind of hinted that he is seriously considering retiring once his current contract is done, which I get. I mean, he's getting up there. Yeah. So
and the thing is if Joe keeps going on this run, it's just going to be tough because of all the other things that Joe has going on. I know it's early and there's 8 years a long time from now. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow?
Right.
But as far as just like looking down the future, that Joe might be that guy. I mean, he's just really good. But the main thing that Michael Cole said that threw the IWC into a tizzy was that Corey. What?
Are you talking about what he said about Corey?
Not Corey, about what he's saying that WWE isn't a pro wrestling company. They're made on story. They're more storytelling and entertainment based, and that's why Netflix liked us, because of our storytelling and not our professional wrestling. And I'm like, we've talked about this before, because HBK has come out and kind of said the same thing, is that everything outside of it is what makes it, and then the wrestling just happens to be there as well. I can't really quote him exactly, but that's what he said. Well, everyone's just like, oh my God. They said it. I was like, how long has WWE been a pro wrestling company? Really? Just think about it. How long has WWE?
I mean, this goes all the way back to when Vince talked about how when Ted Turner bought NWA from Jim Crockett and repackaged it as WCW. And he called Vince up and was like, I'm in the wrestling business now. And he's like, that's great, Ted. But it's like we over here at WWF, we're in the entertainment business.
Yeah. But the thing is I always tell people what Michael Cole is saying isn't wrong, but it's not taking away from the in-ring action, because as good as the Attitude Era was, how quickly were those matches?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, like if you go back and watch some Attitude Era matches, it was like a tag team match. Oh, that's a great match. That was so good. It was like 5 minutes. And they're actually letting them wrestle and tell stories in the ring. Newsflash, guys, they're telling a story in the ring too. And if you don't know, if you didn't realize that they're storytellers in the ring and the match itself is storytelling, look at Sami Zayn versus CM Punk a couple weeks ago for Elimination Chamber. That was a story that they told. Look at the Hell in a Cell between McIntyre and CM Punk. I know I'm using CM Punk here a couple times because I think he's a really good. He really knows how to put on a good match and tell a story. I think that's another underlying thing that people don't realize how good CM Punk is. Is he the most athletic dude? No. He's old as he's up there in age. He can't do what he used to do as far as agility and all that stuff, but he's still one of the best workers because he knows how to tell a story in a ring and you're captivated by it. So that's why I was bringing that up. And Sammy's that same way. Kevin Owens, really good storyteller in the ring. Seth Rollins, you don't have to sit there and do 22 sunset flips and for a 1 count. It's really cool, but where's the story? And Jim, our boy Corny, that's his biggest thing with that Ricochet Will Ospreay match years ago that people were ranting and raving and drooling about. There was no story there. It was just it was kind of Cirque du Soleil, but it was cool moves, but you really weren't selling anything. And so I know it's a long little tangent that I went on, but I don't think he's wrong, but I think he's underselling that, you're kind of cutting off, and you're basically telling the IWC and the the hardcore fans that what happens in the ring doesn't matter, and it does. And I think people just don't understand what Michael is really saying.
Yeah. It's like it, and we talked about this before. It's like one of the most important things in wrestling. Like the wrestling is great. If a match has to, if a match delivers, but you can have a 4 or 5 star, like mind-blowingly awesome technical masterpiece, but there's no story behind it. How is that going to be memorable? It's like, yeah, people may talk about it. There's a reason people from my generation, and even younger people who have gone back and watched older wrestling, still talk about Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for WrestleMania 3. Because that match had the story behind it, and it delivered in the ring. It is a classic for both those reasons, because the whole storyline of Macho Man injuring Steamboat, they're thinking that his career might be over. It's like, how is he going to recover from that? And he came back, and it's like he got his match with Macho Man at WrestleMania to get revenge, and he beat him and won the title, which was like a career high moment for Ricky. And that's like the match is like it's a master. It's why it's one of those matches like people still go back and study, because it's a master class on how to tell a story during a match.
Yeah.
It's like story has to come first, and then worry about the match afterwards. Because if you don't have a story, people are not going to give a crap.
No. Do you think people would give a crap about Avengers Infinity War if Endgame didn't deliver? The Endgame is the wrestling match.
Yeah.
The Infinity War is the story. The setup.
Infinity War was the build-up. Endgame was the Mania match.
Right. So, and now Roman, I was trying to think of another classic other than like WrestleMania. Oh, well, the Rock Hulk Hogan. You know how much wrestling they really did in that ring? Not a whole lot. But did they tell a story?
Yeah, and then the crowd in the palm of their hand. It's like
there's not many moves that was done there. There wasn't it wasn't a 5-star classic, but it was memorable. But that being said, if you don't think wrestling matters, look at Shawn Michaels and Undertaker in those 2 WrestleMania matches. That's still my favorite WrestleMania match is the second.
Yeah, those matches are amazing because there was story built up about them facing each other. Mania with Shawn thinking that he was going to be the one to end Undertaker's winning streak at WrestleMania. And then for the rematch, he basically made Undertaker's life a living hell in order to get the second one, including costing him the world title in an Elimination Chamber match.
Right.
And it's like when he cost him the title at Elimination Chamber, that's when he was like, okay, I had enough of this shit. Yeah. It's like you and me were dancing again. And it's like, and he put his career on the line, which led to his retirement. So there was story behind it, and the matches delivered at the same time.
Yeah. Hey, Brennan.
I
mean, look at, for example, the ladder match that just happened between Kevin Owens and Cody. This was finally the feud that we've been waiting for Cody to have post-Mania.
Yeah.
And it was a good story, great build-up.
And there's still more stories spinning off of it now with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is spinning off of that.
Yeah. But they're delivering a good match in the ring, and they're telling a story in the ring.
Exactly.
So, yes, storytelling does come first. So, for the people sitting there like Michael Cotto doesn't even talk about, I'm like, just take a second and think about what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is like some big claim that, oh, I told you, they've been telling, they've never kept the wool, whatever it is over your eyes, like they're thinking that they hid it from you. They've been pretty straightforward on what they are. Mm-hmm. And AEW was an alternative, and then they kind of got a little WWE. Now they're getting back to being AEW again, with the type of matches that they're putting on. But I just think that people kind of went way too overboard with what Michael Cole was saying, because he's not wrong, but I think they just thought he was like telling that professional wrestling, what happens in the ring doesn't matter, and it does. Anything you want to talk about with that? I know you hinted before we move on here, so we need to get going with the reviews. Is there anything about that? Because I know you hinted about Corey Graves. Was there something you wanted to bring up with what he was talking about with Corey?
Yeah, because during the interview, Logan asked him like, "What's going on with Corey?" And he's like, "I'm not sure. He's he's like, he says, he loves Corey. He's like, he's always loved working with him. He's not sure if he was trying to pull something or if it was end up being a shoot, but he's like, no, I'm not. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm sure things will get worked out because Logan apparently is a big fan of Corey too. So it's like he was kind of like, it seemed like Logan was kind of concerned about like, do you know what's going on with that? It's like, is everything okay?
Right.
So, and that led to speculation that maybe it's like things will eventually thaw because we'll talk about. He didn't sub for Joe Tessitore on SmackDown last week. It was Vic Joseph. Now, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense because, he was in town for Vengeance Day, which was the next, because SmackDown was in DC, same as Vengeance Day. So they were already in town for Vengeance Day, which was going to be the 24 hours. So I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense that they want to have Vic sub in, and plus him and Wade worked together on NXT for quite a while. So, but that's also made people go like, well, why didn't they ask Corey? But it's like I wouldn't put too much of it. I will say I feel like Corey's definitely putting in the work on NXT right now. I'm liking some of the back and forth that he's doing with Vic and Booker, both at Vengeance Day and this past week's episode. So. It's like I found his Cole's commentary interesting. So he probably didn't want to give away too much. He probably knows a little more what's going on, but he didn't want to say too much. But I'm not too worried about it right now. I think it's like cooler heads have probably prevailed, and things are working out. So it's like.
Yeah. One last thing, and then we'll get to you want to do SmackDown or SmackDown or Vengeance?
Let's do SmackDown because I want to get SmackDown out of the way real quick so we can get to Vengeance Day, which was better.
Okay, yeah, it was. But the last little thing I will say that Michael, I was waiting for him to say it the whole interview. He finally said it because they were like, why do you think Vince McMahon took a liking to you and you've been Vince McMahon's guy the whole time? He's like, because I was his puppet and he could tell me what to do, and I wouldn't really go back at him. Like JR be like, no, that's stupid, I'm not going to do that. He eventually would, but he knew whatever I would say I would do because he was my boss and that's what I was going to do. So he finally said the thing out loud that we all did, because we've seen the clips where he was just like, that was dumb, that like we've seen that like behind the, like when he's sitting there like Vince is in his ear and he's like, I've already said it, what you want me to keep saying? Okay, sir, yeah, whatever you say.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like stories about like the way Vince treated Cole, while he was working commentary. So it's like,
yeah. So
but
yes, go look at the interview. I can't believe I'm promoting Logan Paul stuff, but I like when he has wrestlers on because it's a good, they're good interviews. Nothing against, and Chris Van Fleet's still the GOAT when it comes to interviewing wrestlers, but I just like the type of angle that you get with that.
One other quick update on Impact. Tessa Blanchard and Masha Slamovich got into it. Masha had a quick match against someone. I don't know who it was. And then Cora Jade showed up and attacked her again later out. And then Cora Jade and Tessa had some words at the top of the ramp.
Nice. Well, I mean, Cora did tweet out that she was coming from Masha. So,
and plus, Santino finally made Cora versus Masha Slamovich for TNA Knockouts title match official, I think, for their upcoming pay-per-view. So,
gotcha. Okay.
So
all right. Yeah, that was coming. There was no way they weren't going to do that. All right, let's do SmackDown.
Yeah. Here's a recap of last week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, Valentine's Day edition. Joe Tessitore was on doing other announcing duties, so Vic Joseph of NXT filled in because he was already in town for Vengeance Day on Saturday. So he and Wade Barrett opened the show. Cody Rhodes came out to a chat talking about Elimination Chamber, saying that now he can focus on who's going to win the men's chamber match now that Jay has chosen to challenge Gunther at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre came out feeling that Cody's not respecting him. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga came out to interrupt. And him and Cody got into it, but then they saw Solo arrive. Jacob told Cody that he's going to go talk to Solo first, and Cody said that's fine. He'll get in the last word. after Solo attacked him last week. Wade Barrett was shown talking to Trish Stratus, who was up near the front row in the crowd, saying that she was going to be at Elimination Chamber. And speaking of Elimination Chamber, we went right into the next women's qualifying match. Naomi taking on Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green. Naomi picked up the victory to qualify for the Chamber. Chelsea was not happy about that. They showed a video of Sami saying that he was really banged up after Kevin Owens' attack and said that he planned on dealing with it soon, whether he's clear or not. They recapped the reveal of Michelle McCool being inducted into the Hall of Fame class this year along with Triple H. Then we went to a tag team match. Motor City Machine Guns taking Los Garza. Motor City Machine Guns picking up the victory with their finisher. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga found Solo in the back. Solo apologized, but he needed to take some time off after losing the Ulufala and the Tribal Chief title to Roman, and said that they're going to start over fresh and that it starts with Jacob winning tonight and getting into the Chamber and then going on to challenge Cody at WrestleMania. He told Jacob he loves him, but Jacob Fatu did not return the love back. Shinsuke Nakamura came out set saying he's looking for worthy challenger. LA Knight interrupted. Still obviously wanting to get the U.S. title back. He said that he hadn't beat until Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga got inserted into his business. Miz came out and they had words which led to a match. Miz versus LA Knight. LA Knight picked up the victory. He and Nakamura got into it after the match. Liv Morgan was shown cutting promo saying that she'll win Elimination Chamber. Oh, no, sorry. It was Alexa Bliss talking to Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in the back. So Wyatt teases came up on the screen while Alexa was on the screen. Miz and Andrade had words again. Then he had words with Carmelo. Miz is having all kinds of bad luck. Then we got to R-Truth taking on Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo picked up the victory in short order with nothing but net. We got another pre-recorded promo from the Street Profits, vowing that once Angelo Dawkins is cleared for action, they are going to get the smoke and the tag team titles and take out all the other teams in the division. DIY warned that Pretty Deadly in the back that in their tag team title match next week, they are going to not hold back and bring the violence. A pre-recorded video from Kevin Owens' car to respond to Sami, saying that he betrayed him just like Cody and Randy did, and said that they'll sell things in the Elimination Chamber, said to come find him whether he's cleared to wrestle or not. Then we had WWE Women's title match. Tiffany Stratton defending against Nia Jax. Candice LeRae ended up interfering, preventing Tiffany from hitting the prettiest moonsault on Nia for a disqualification. Trish Stratus went into the ring to prevent a beatdown afterwards. In the back, Nick Aldis showed Naomi and Bianca Belair a video that had been anonymously set in that showed Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were in the back lurking after Jade had been attacked and was being put into the ambulance. Bianca and Naomi felt that was proof that they were involved and planned to go to Raw to confront them. Trish Stratus came up to Tiffany Beck and said offered to team up with her to face Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in a tag team match in Elimination Chamber, and Tiffany was very excited for that. Drew McIntyre, Jimmy Uso got into the back, and he got a super kick to the face from Jimmy. Then we had the main event Elimination Chamber qualifying match for the men's. Braun Strowman versus Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu. Solo Sikoa came out and spiked Braun Strowman to trying to help Jacob win, but Cody came out to attack Solo. Things got crazy. Solo accidentally spiked Tama Tonga, pissing off Jacob Fatu, who got distracted. Damian Priest took advantage, took him out, and then choke slammed Braun Strowman with South of Heaven to win and qualify for Elimination Chamber. So that's all that happened on last week's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. We're right back. Yeah, I already said my piece about Chelsea losing to Naomi, and it's like I don't mind. I'm fine with Naomi being in the chamber, but Chelsea should not be losing clean like that. So that's all I have to say about that. So where you want to start with this episode? This was okay. It wasn't like. It felt like definitely like a lot of setup.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're getting Jacob and Solo at Mania, aren't we?
That's what the rumor is. And from what's going on storyline-wise, it definitely looks like we're heading that way.
I'm not mad about it, but I'm not excited about it.
No, well, I know that Jacob will. It'll be a hell of a fight, and Jacob is going to try to murderize him.
What did you think of Vic Joseph?
Well, I'm used to him and Wade from their time working together at NXT, so I thought he was fine.
Okay. The Miz. Here's a little thing. The LA Knight stare down with Nakamura went on way too damn long.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I'm like, what? I was like, I know that sometimes you have to kill time, but this is getting ridiculous.
I mean, they just stared at each other and stared at each other. They're still, but I will say this: they're mellow. They're booking mellow.
Yes, he's winning. That's what's important.
Winning. Yes. And you know, I don't know. When Charlotte came out, it's
the way she's speaking to Tiffany, that pissed me off. It's like very condescending.
Well, she's a heel. It's what she is. It's Charlotte. That's what she does. But the thing is Tiffany. Her eyes being open and just kind of there, like she wasn't she even looked like she was in a daze. She was just sitting there listening to her.
Yeah, it was like I need to stay down so that she can do this kind of thing. Where it's like,
but she needed to keep her eyes closed.
She was trying to sell the attack still. You know, it's like it didn't completely work, but at least you know it's finally official. You know, we knew that this was what was going to happen. So
that and the end of the triple threat just seemed clunky.
It got a little clunky with Solo and then Tamatanga and then Cody. You know, it's like, but it's I see where everything's are going. You know, it's like, and we got the 6-man tag to follow up on that from tomorrow night.
Street Profits did another banger promo.
Yeah, that was great. Another great promo from the Profits. Look forward to when Dawkins cleared so they can get back in the ring.
Yeah, and forward Montez with that's hey, I'm pretty sure GIF has already saved it of the woo! I love that.
Yeah, it's like that's very memeable.
Yeah, it just kind of reminded me of
already being reused for different things.
Yeah, just woo! I love that. And it just reminded me, like that type of energy reminded me of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. It's like, that's how you drive from now on. That's like it came in with that type of energy from Bad Boys too. But yeah, it just felt like, and then Damian really didn't do anything in that match. And then you're going to put him in elimination. It's just
also WWE's got to be very careful. Jacob was getting really over, and he's still supposed to be a heel. It's like the fans really like Jacob Fatu right now.
I mean, what he's doing is correct.
Right.
He's not denied. I mean, Tama's getting over. Am I wrong, or am I just being biased?
No, I think he's getting over too. It's like not as much Jacob, but he's definitely getting over.
No. I mean, Los Garzas, Motor City, it's fine. I mean, nothing to write home about.
I'm fine with Tiffany teaming up with Trish Stratus against Nia and Candice at Elimination Chamber. That's fine.
Hey, did you know Drew McIntyre's on the show? Because I didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it's like I know they were trying to do with the opening. It got a little. There was a lot going on there because like Cody came out, then Drew came out, then Jacob and Tama came out, then Solo showed up. So it was like it's like
and then Cody went to, and the weird part was like you feel like Cody and Jacob were just gonna throw hands, and then Cody goes to go after Solo. He's like, "Nah, Cody, I got this." I'm like, "What? Hold on, that's not an interaction I was expecting."
Yeah, no, it's like he's like, no, I'm dealing with Solo first.
Right. And then that poor backstage guy Tama goes up. Where's Solo? He's down there. And then Jacob just comes in.
Jacob comes in like a freight train, like a runaway train.
What? That was great. I did like Solo's grabs his arm, and he's now Jacob in this
Yeah.
situation. He's like, Jacob, I love you.
Yeah, and I love. It's like I went, oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
He didn't say I love you, Solo back, so it's like Solo's in the doghouse right now. He's in the doghouse.
Yeah, you didn't call me. You nothing, man. You just left us out to dry. I don't know. Jacob's a freaking.
Jacob's awesome.
Just print money. It's Jacob's hot too. That hoodie with the wolf. Oh,
love it.
I'm gonna have to get me.
I may have to get that eventually myself.
Yeah.
But it was mostly a lot of setup for Elimination Chamber and other things.
Yeah, Elimination Chamber.
He's a wrestler though. The main event was fun. I thought the main event was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on.
Let's get to the NXT goodness, because like between this.
What was good about it? Roxanne lost. Why do I care?
But things got better for Roxanne though.
Oh, I have another bone to pick with that. Not because she won, but for other reasons.
Okay.
I know. I like the fact she won. Can Raquel sell, please?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right, here's a recap of NXT's Vengeance Day PLE. It aired Saturday from Washington, D.C. Vic Joseph, Booker T, and Corey Graves on commentary. We opened with the Women's North American title match. Fallon Henley defending against Stephanie Vaquer. Wrestle Fatal Influence did everything they could to try to cheat to help Fallon Henley retain the title, but Stephanie Vaquer overcame the odds and being outnumbered, hit the STB, and then for added emphasis, hit Fallon Henley with a spiral tap off the top rope, corkscrew moonsault, to pin her and become the new NXT Women's North American Champion. Congratulations to the Dark Angel. Then we had the NXT Tag Team title match. Fraxium defending against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. This was a hell of a tag match. The challengers put up a hell of a fight, but Fraxium was able to overcome and pick up the victory to retain. They all shook hands afterwards, and while they were doing so, they were attacked by the new mysterious faction led by Dion Lennox. The foursome laid both teams out. Stax had a pre-recorded promo saying that Tony was still out and vowed payback on Sean Spears and challenged him to a one-on-one match on NXT next week. Then we got to the strap match, Eddie Thorpe against Trick Williams. In a shocking upset, Eddie Thorpe picked up the victory. He used the strap to deal a low blow to Trick and then hit him with a running knee to pin him to win the match, much to the shock of the crowd. They showed Ricky Starks showing up at NXT and said that he'd be signing his NXT contract on this week's episode of NXT on Tuesday. Then we got to Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. Javon came pretty close to winning a good times, but Ethan Page delivered a punch in midair that knocked the mouthpiece Javon was using out of his mouth and then hit Twist of Fate to pin Javon to win the match. This feud is definitely not over. Stephanie Vaquer was interviewed back. Very happy and excited that she is the new Women's North American Champion, but said her night's not done and she'd be watching the NXT Women's title match. Then we got to the NXT title match, Triple Threat, Obafemi defending against Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, 8-Town Down Under. The tag team, former tag champs, teamed up early on Obafemi, but eventually disagreements caused them to try to win the title on their own. And eventually Obafemi was able to take advantage and hit the Fall from Grace Power Slam to retain. After the match, the lights went out, and Dion Lennox and his allies showed up again, and they attacked Obafemi and laid him out with a power bomb. Very Shield style. Ariana Grace came to see Ava and had her father, Santino Marella, from TNA with her. Santino was there to talk to Ava about potential crossover ideas for between TNA and NXT, and they left to chat. Then we got the main event, NXT Women's Championship match, Fatal 4-Way. Julia defending against Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Bayley. Fantastic stuff from the ladies. Wild finish. Roxanne hit pop rocks on Bailey. Cora countered that and with a crucifix roll up to break it up and try to pin Roxanne. She hit Jada DDT on her, went to pin her, but Julia came in with a running knee shot. The Arrivederci delivered one to Roxanne and then hit the Northern Lights bomb on Roxanne to pin her and remain NXT Women's Champion. Stephanie Becker came out to celebrate with Julia. The two stood in the ring holding up their titles. When all of a sudden, familiar siren hit and Jordan Grace came out to a big reaction. Had We Are NXT shirt on, and Vic confirmed that she was joining the NXT roster for the time being. Jordan came down to the ring and had a three-way stare down between Julia and Stephanie, close out the show. So that's all that happened at NXT Vengeance Day 2025.
Where do you want to start on this one?
I thought this was a really good show. I was really happy with the show. I mean, there was no bad matches. I mean, the weakest match was probably the strap match, and that was still it was a good match. Just a little shocking that Eddie went over Trick, but I'm okay with it. It just means that it's obvious that they want to keep the feud going for a little bit longer. And
plus, it's not going to hurt Trick.
No, it's definitely a sign of like, okay, he's helping put other people over before he goes to main roster kind of feel.
Yeah. But I will like to give us 2 pats on the back for calling that ending of the show. Because you were like, Stephanie's going to come out. And I was like, or stick with me now. And then George's going to come out. And
we got both.
We got both. So I was like, wow, they really did that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, because I was like, oh, Stephanie and Julie are going to come out and do like the, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero at the end of WrestleMania type thing. Like, oh my gosh, look how far we've come. They did that. And then Jordan came out and goes, it's a new sheriff.
Not so fast.
Not so fast. And then we got that really great triple threat match. But I thought that Fatal 4-Way wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be. I will say that.
I thought it was very good. I was hoping it would be like a little bit better, but still ended up being really good. Like, it started a little slow, but like by the last like several minutes were like really great. Especially the finish. Thought that was done really well. Everyone got their moments. What did you think of like Roxanne and Cora teamed up for a while, but then Cora turned on her first?
Right. You knew it was going to happen, so yeah. I was good with that. But yeah, and then I was like, I really don't want Roxanne to take the pin, but then I was like, wait, Trick took a pin, Roxanne's taking this pin, just because of where they're headed.
Right, and plus Cora's taking a lot of pins, and she's going to be challenging for the TNA Knockouts Championship.
Yeah, and it's all right. Roxanne
really just got in Elimination Chamber, so they're not going to have her pin. It's like, so I was like, when it happened, I was like, okay, that makes sense. It's like, it's very definitive. Like, it's like Julie's got her numbered out. It's like kind of thing. So
the biggest surprise to me was how good that Javon Evans.
That Javon Ethan Page match was great.
Guys, you talk about storytelling. Yeah, that's a story in the ring.
And the timing where he was able to hit him in the jaw to knock out the mouthpiece, that was excellent timing on the two of them.
Yeah, and then Ethan with like just enough blood on his face to really sell when he's staring at the camera and smiling.
It was funny. Well, I was watching this. I was over at my friend James' place. And we were watching it, and I was like, I didn't realize he was busted open because I was like, I went to James. I'm like, why is the ref got the black gloves on? Is somebody bleeding? I don't see it. Or is it a precaution? And then like they did the close up, and I was like, "Oh, Ethan is busted open. That's why he's got the gloves on."
But I was, because like I said, I thought the weakest match was definitely Eddie Thorpe in Trick in the strap match. The
match down. I'll tell you, the match that really surprised me was the tag match because that was put on short notice, and man, Josh Briggs and Inamura looked awesome against Fraxium.
That actually, I was not surprised because Josh, anytime a guy goes over to Noah and comes back, he's like way better.
That's
So,
the best I've ever seen. That's the best I've seen Josh Briggs in a long time.
Yeah.
Like him and Nomura have like really good chemistry together.
yeah.
I see
And-
why they wanted to do this tag team.
Right. But it's also Fraxium. Like,
Yeah.
When's the last time Fraxium put on a meh match? Like, they're just that good.
There's not. It doesn't seem like they're capable of him.
I don't think they are, and that's why I was surprised. I wasn't as surprised because A-Town Down Under are good and like they're good enough. They're going to put on a solid match with Oba. So that was still fine of a match there. But yeah, Jordan. And I was trying to come up with a different like version of Shield because I mean like just right, like, could you come up with something?
Yeah, people
different?
are saying that. I saw people like getting like. There's a little bit of Shield, a little bit of Retribution in these guys. Kind of, it's like, and I definitely get that. It's the way that they were doing the power bombing thing and the gang attack was very Shield.
Coming from
and
the
kind
crowd,
of the chaos is very Retribution like. So
yeah.
I get the comparisons, and we'll talk about more of that because we still don't know what their agenda is, but they're definitely out to cause chaos, and they definitely cause even more chaos on NXT proper on Tuesday. Stephanie winning Women's North American Championship. We knew that was going to happen. It was a really good match. Fallon, I think, is really underrated. She really is able to hang with Stephanie. Man, that spiral tap off the top rope, so smooth. And
Booker T Booker T's reaction when she does the knee slams.
When she grabs the head and ramps it into the mat with her legs, he loves that bit.
Yeah,
I love that they it's like Vic and Corey are poking fun at him about it too.
I'll bring it up now, but that triple threat when she was doing that to JC Jane and JC Jane's doing the butterfly selling. Butterfly stroke selling.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? What is this? I mean, I noticed it, so I guess it worked, but yeah, it was just...
I want to come to something you mentioned before, but you're definitely right. Like, between Julia and Stephanie, Stephanie's a little bit more popular right now than Julia.
Yeah. She's
getting a little bit more reaction. Julia is definitely over, but Stephanie is even more over. You can tell.
I think right now her style is just
it's clicking a little bit more with the NXT audience than Julia.
Yeah.
Although Julia's getting there, it's like they love them both, but Stephanie's definitely got the edge in the popularity at the moment.
Yeah, because she's just so smooth, and she can.
Yeah.
And it feels like Julia still is getting the feel for it, and plus you kind of have to match her style.
Yeah,
and sometimes that style doesn't resonate, whereas Stephanie's lucha background and stuff is still going to resonate. With this type of style, much less she can work with anything else, and she's just really good.
But it's like they're both getting over. I mean, it's like you're hearing they're training Stephanie, they're training Julia, so and it's working. I mean, it's like they're at the top of the division now, just like we were talking about. It's like Julia's NXT champion, she's the Women's North American champion. It's like they're running the division now. Yeah. And I'm loving the tease of them having a champion versus champion match. They're friends, but I love that how like when they were standing together, she took a moment to side eye look at the NXT Women's Championship because I love having this title, but I also want to have that title eventually too. Yeah. And then Jordan coming out, I was wondering, I was like, something. It's like, are we gonna see Jordan? Someone's gonna have. And then as soon as like the copyright logo and they're still holding, it's like, come on. There it is.
Yeah. Here's the issue. Who's going to be the heel?
That's the thing. That's the most interesting.
Like Cora's going to have a lot of carrying to do as far as the heel.
Right. It's like, it's going to be very interesting what they're going to do. It's like, with Jordan thrown into the picture, we may not have like just Julia and Stephanie. They might do a triple threat between the three of them, which would be mind-blowingly awesome. I think they're definitely hinting at that, especially after the way the NXT ended, which we'll get to that. But it's going to be very interesting to see where things are going to go because we got Roadblock first coming up in March before we get to Stand and Deliver. So they're going to blow off they're going to have some title matches for that show. And so we shall see. But with both Ricky and Jordan Grace in NXT, it's like I'm really pumped about NXT right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I would try and at this point, because I guess you can turn Jordan Grace or Stephanie or Julia heel. I wouldn't, because I think that's still undermining the rest of the talent
I don't
you
think
have.
Stephanie or Julia is going to go heel because they're too popular right now with the fans. They're really connected. It'd be weird for them to do that. Because it's not easy to put like all these popular babies against each other, but it can work because it's like, it's like, it's more about like mutual respect. The fans could get behind it. It's like,
do you turn Jada at this point? She can carry a program.
Yeah, because Jada Perkins can kind of like in tweener mode where she can be both face or heel, kind of. So it's like depending on who she's fighting.
Are like that.
Yeah.
Right. They're both tweeners, basically.
Yeah.
They're like anti-heroes.
I'm wondering where Lola Vice is. I'm thinking she must be injured or something because she hasn't been on TV for a bit.
Where she was a little banged up and.
Okay. Because I figured I was like, where's Lola Vice been? And it's like she's got to be injured or something.
Yeah. And come on, Thea. I know you wrestled a match recently. Come on back.
I think we're eventually going to see the return of Thea with this whole Andre Chase storyline. Hopefully, maybe she can finally wake him up. Probably the best one to do it. Overall, really enjoyed Vengeance Day. A lot of great matches. Love the tease with what's to come with the contract signing with Ricky on Tuesday. They set up, and then the stuff with Santino, and we're getting more. It's like there's a lot of crossover stuff going on both NXT and also tonight on Impact. So they're really gearing that up, and we'll get to that when NXT proper, because there's definitely some it's like I'm like, what, he's here? And then the Hardys, and it's like
and we're getting, and TNA's getting Oba and the Hardys in the triple threat against the System next week, so that's gonna be cool.
Boy.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool there. So so probably no quarter's gonna come out as well, and
but yeah, man, like it's like just watching that Fatal 4, and I liked how, one last thing, I liked how Vic phrased it, where like the main event was like all the different eras at NXT in one match, where Bayley represented the beginning, Black and Gold, and then Cora and Roxanne came of age during 2.0. They got their start, and they survived 2.0 because 2.0 was not the best time, but we got some great talent out of 2.0, thankfully. Braun, Mello, Trick, Roxanne, Cora. It's like, so it wasn't a complete disaster. Just very rough, curly, but there was a lot of talent there. And now this new era with Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Oba Femi, the wealth of talent in the women's division. It's like, so I kind of like that, where it's like I thought that was a nice touch to the match that they brought that up.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I love when Roxanne busts out the white outfit. She looks so good in the white outfit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And speaking of Roxanne,
you think this was Roxanne's final NXT match?
Seems like it. She might do one more, because but it depends on how the chamber goes and if it draws up any type of feud.
Because Vic mentioned that she tied Asuka for the most PLE matches for NXT women talent. It's like, I was like, they probably mentioned that for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, she probably got one more in her. I don't know. It just depends on what happens at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk to Raw, because it's like, yes. Did you see like a fan post a video who was at ringside? She's like, it's like, no, Roxanne, rest. You got the Elimination Chamber qualifier on Monday. I know.
Yeah, and the fact that she's still teasing Bayley, it's good stuff there.
Yeah, I had to share that with you. She's still trolling Bayley, so it's like, that feud is nowhere near over.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So although Roxanne losing, sad, But then things got better for the Prodigy on Raw.
Yeah, it did. Let's go over that.
Let's go to Raw. Here's a recap of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. We opened with Sami Zayn coming out to chat, talking about what happened between him and Kevin Owens last week. Talked about their history and said, but this time, this is a different kind of betrayal. KO was trying to end his career this time for permanently, and he's not going to let that stand. And he wants to have a match with Kevin Owens at the Elimination Chamber. Adam Pearce came out and said that he's not medically cleared and he cannot allow the match to happen. Sami said he doesn't care. He wants it. Adam Pearce said if he lets them have a fight, it's going to be an unsanctioned match, which means he won't be able to do anything to stop Kevin Owens from trying to cripple Sami. But Sami countered that no one's going to be able to stop him from wrecking KO in return. So Adam Pearce said, okay, you've got it. Unsanctioned match. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn for Elimination Chamber in the bag. Donovan Mysterio and the rest of Judgment in the back told Liv he's worried about what Bianca Belair and Naomi are going to do to her and Raquel. She said not to worry. Finn came up and said that they all need to concentrate and win their matches tonight, especially him and Raquel, so they can both qualify for the Elimination Chamber matches. Then we had AJ Styles taking on Donovan Mysterio. AJ picked up the victory. After the match, Braun Breaker tried to sneak in and spear AJ, but AJ saw him coming and dodged it, and he speared Dirty Dom out of his shoes instead. He ripped off his shirt in anger and threw it at AJ, who caught it, and the two had a stare down. Give me that match, please. Ivy now said she's ready to beat Dakota Kai and then go on to beat Lyra Valkyria and get gold around her waist. So we had a number one contender match. Winner would face Lyra Valkyria next week for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Dakota Kai versus Ivy now. Dakota Kai picked up the victory with the GDK kick. And her and Lyra had stared down the ring. Type up the match. Gunther came out like Jey Uso does through the arena to mock him. Ran down Jey and saying that he's going to show everyone and expose him for what he really is. That he's not worthy. Eventually, Jey came out to attack him, and they had to be pulled apart. More good stuff here to hype up their WrestleMania match. Liv Morgan Rodriguez don't like being accused of being the ones responsible for Jade Cargill getting attacked. But they didn't deny it either. Then we had Pete Dunne taking on Penta. Louis Cars at ringside, trying to cause a distraction, but it ended up backfiring and distracted Pete Dunne, allowing Penta to hit him with the Penta driver, pick up the victory. Afterwards, Kaiser and Pete Dunne teamed up for a beatdown on Penta, but Penta was able to recover and hit a big running flip dive onto him outside the ring. Then we had Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. The Prodigy Roxanne Perez for NXT taking on Raquel Rodriguez. Bianca and Naomi showed up to attack Liv on the outside of the ring near the conclusion of the match. They were beating the hell out of Liv. That distracted Raquel long enough for Roxanne to take advantage. Hit Raquel Rodriguez with pop rocks to pin her and be the final entrant into the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Congrats to the Prodigy. Afterwards, Raquel saved Liv from further attacks from Bianca and Naomi. Seth Rollins called the promo back, vowing to beat Finn Balor and get into Elimination Chamber, and then he's going to win that and go on to main event WrestleMania. Karrion Kross talked more about Sami Zayn, saying that Sami needs to come to reality and that he really can't beat Kevin Owens. Io Sky cut a pre-tape promo talking about her and Rhea Ripley's history in NXT on the main roster. She's beaten Rhea before, and in 2 weeks she's going to beat her again to become a WWE Women's Champion, a Women's Champion again. New Day came out to mega heat, justifying their attack on Rey Mysterio last week. This brought out the LWO, and they beat them down, looking for payback. It was announced that Bianca Belair and Naomi would defend the women's tag team titles next week against Liv and Raquel. Then we got to our main event, the final men's elimination chamber qualifying match for the final spot. Seth Rollins taking on Finn Balor. Good stuff from these guys. Seth picking up the victory with the stomp to qualify for the chamber. And so both men and women's chambers lineups are complete. And that closed out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw.
She did it. But here's the problem.
Yes. There is a problem or two. Is like we're not knocking on the match. It's like it was the standard, David and Goliath kind of match, which you'd expect. And we're all happy Roxanne won because we all wanted her to be in the chamber, and she's in the chamber, which is awesome. But go for it.
The crowd didn't care.
Right. Because it was heel versus heel, which
Correct.
is a booking problem.
Yes. So we had that. I think the beatdown went way too long. No one clapped to behind Roxanne because, again, Roxanne was a heel. So why are you going to clap? Be like, come on, Roxanne, you can do it.
Yeah. How are you going to have people invested in this match when it's heel versus heel? It's like.
And then Bianca and then the thing is finally when starting to gain some ground. When Roxanne was finally starting to gain some ground, then Bianca and Naomi came out.
Yeah. Because I was wondering when they were going to show up because I was like, okay, it went exactly what was happening. Bianca and Naomi would show up, shenanigans were going to happen. Roxanne would take advantage and pin Raquel to get into the chamber, and that's exactly what happened. How it was executed was a little bit sloppy, but because like it was funny. It's like the crowd popped when Roxanne won, but it's like it would have been better if Roxanne had been paired against another babyface in this match.
Yeah.
To qualify for a chamber.
Raquel has a hard time selling Pop Rocks. That wasn't that very clean.
No.
That's whatever. The other thing was that I didn't care for was it was like Roxanne won. Yeah, okay, that's great. She's going to elimination. No one cares. Hey, look, it's Bianca and Naomi and all this stuff that's going on.
It was the focus was a little bit more on that whole storyline versus Roxanne qualifying for the chamber. That I also agree with you. Although
I was going to
give props to Bianca and Naomi with the Bring It On.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like
the EST and the glow.
Oh, bring it on, bring it on.
Yeah, I like the gear. Shout out to that. But they still haven't said that was Liv and Raquel either.
Yeah, and plus, and Liv and Raquel are playing along to try to make those who are not the sharpest knives of the draw in the audience think that they're involved because they're not saying they did it, but they're not denying it either. So it's but we know that they did not have anything to do with it.
No. Plus, it's one of those, if they really were the ones that did it this whole time, why does it drag on for as long as it did? And I don't think they're doing that. So, but I will say this, I was about to curse out Triple H because I was like, why isn't Roxanne getting an entrance? What's going on? Why can't we get an entrance? And then they were showing her in the video game and that perfect white from the video game to her standing there. I was like, all right, never mind. Whatever I said, what I was thinking,
I
out
knew
the
you
window.
liked that.
That was badass. That was awesome. Of her literally sitting there posing, and then it just dissolves into her. Yeah, actually standing and doing the same thing. I was like, all right, whoever came up with that.
It feels like Roxanne is been unofficially drafted at this point, but it's like to Raw. But
as far as the comments, because I did look through those videos and stuff, and everyone was just, even though the crowd was dead to it, everyone was just like, Roxanne's a future star. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, we're good.
Yeah, no, everyone's like, everyone was like, the match didn't have heat. Any investment from the fans because it was heel versus heel, but everyone's excited that she's in the chamber, especially because Bayley's in there and the other women. I mean, this women's chamber match, both chamber matches are loaded up to really cut, especially the women's chamber, and plus there's a lot of interesting storylines in here. Like Roxanne versus Bayley are going to clash again. Roxanne's going to get to mix up with Bianca, with Liv, with Naomi and Alexa Bliss, who she's never interacted with before. So,
Right.
So that's going to be exciting. I'm all on board with KO and Sammy's match being unsanctioned. I think that's a great move.
I was really like, make it a drinking game of how many times Adam Pearce says unsanctioned.
Yep. Plus, this opens the door for Randy Orton to finally return and start getting his revenge on KO.
Yeah.
That unsanctioned match.
I don't know where this leads to Mania or what that does.
Because there's no rules in an unsanctioned match. It's like no DQ.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What did that happen?
Yeah.
It's unsanctioned. I was just like, I can't allow it, but we're gonna hype this up as a match. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, ready to break.
Yeah.
It always like throws me off with unsanctioned matches because like we can't actually say it's a match, but we're gonna have a match.
Right.
It's always just like what? Anyway, it's just one of those things of just like what it's like when a casual watches it and they're like, why are they climbing the ladder so slow? It's like, don't worry about it, just go with it. It's like, if they can't do the match, then why are they having a match? Like, don't worry about it. Just think. Just don't worry about it. And then AJ Styles with the smoothest T-shirt catch of all time.
Give me AJ versus Braun Breaker now, please. I'm all on board for this match. That was awesome where he caught the ripped shirt. Yeah. Like that was boss.
Yeah. Dakota going over on Ivy. I was not.
That was surprising because they've been clearly teasing Ivy versus Lyra. Instead, Dakota beats her to get the title shot. So
I think because they had such a banger, they're like, let's just run that back again.
Probably, and we'll see if Ivy interferes or attacks afterwards because it's like that. That's going to happen still anyway. So
yeah. All right. So far, we're a week in of Jay officially challenging Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, they added layers. I loved what Gunther did.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite things of the show. Gunther coming out like Jay to mock him and then run him down. Absolutely fantastic. And then Jay like had enough of that shit and comes out to attack him. Perfect.
And then him threatening Cole and McAfee.
Yep. Oh yeah, where he was all like he throws the microphone at McAfee. It was like that. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is getting good.
Yeah. And Gunther even kind of flipped the bit that Jay does with pulling one of the kids out of the crowd and doing the yeet with them. And he kind of like looked down at like one of those kids that was standing there, and he kind of like joked about that to you, and he was just like, it's like reading Shakespeare to a dog. I love that line. But yeah, no, Gunther. I was like, we've already gotten Jay. How are they going to do this? Okay, you're starting to heat up here, as far as this build because they've got a while to go. So it's like, just
so that was good.
That was good.
Like that. No surprise, Seth won.
Still a really good match though.
Yeah, not a good night for the Judgment Day. Raquel lost, Dominic lost, Finn lost. So something's got to give here. It's like either Finn's going to get kicked out and replaced by somebody because Dom keeps hitting that like we need someone else. We need a new member. With JD out, we need another body. So that's got to be leading somewhere. So I don't know if Judgment Day is going to finish or it's just leading to Finn getting kicked out, just like Edge, Rhea, and Damian got kicked out.
Yeah.
Because he's doing this. He's acting and doing the same stuff that he attacked Rhea and Damian for and kicked them out. He's not supposed to be a leader, but he's acting like the leader.
Right.
So
somebody threw out there about Malachi Black. I was like, that's a totally different gimmick, dude.
If Zelina was on Raw, I would put more credence to that. But since she's on SmackDown, that's probably where he's going to end up. So
yeah. What did you think of the New Day segment?
I thought that worked fine. It's like they're going to sell that Ray's out for a bit, so they're going to have the LWO to deal with. They got so like New Day versus Walking Wild and Del Toro. That should be a banger.
Okay, guys. Can we get?
I'm liking the stuff with Kaiser, Penta, and Pete Dunne.
I am, but it's also just like I feel like where's this leading to?
Right. If the rumor, if Tyler Bate's about to return, that's where I think it's heading. It's like Tyler Bate will return to help Penta against Pete Dunne and Kaiser.
That'd be cool. Is Ilya? Is he still out?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be out a little bit longer.
Okay.
He's gonna be out, I think, for another few months.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like we're hearing rumors that Tyler Bate is he's about ready to return. So
yeah,
which is good because I miss the big strong boy. He's great.
Yeah. And there was rumors now that there's rumors cooking up that they're thinking about AJ and Finn at WrestleMania, which I think that match is going to cook, but I don't feel like where they're going with AJ and the Intercontinental title should just be a random match with him and Finn.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how, like, I wouldn't mind AJ versus Finn with their history with Bullet Club and everything,
Right.
but how would you get there is what I'm curious.
Because I mean, Finn versus Dom makes more sense,
right?
But you're gonna have Dom be the babyface? I don't buy that. So just a weird little.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a Judgment Day vortex in this situation.
I like that Judgment Day vortex.
Yeah, well, there's the Chris Jericho vortex, the Judgment Day vortex, where they bring you in. On that,
man.
Yeah. So that's not something. The Chris Jericho vortex is not something I came up with, but Judgment Day is kind of around that same thing. It's like, oh god, I got sucked into the Judgment Day crap.
I thought, yeah, that's pretty. Raw was fine. Happy the Prodigy winning, that was a big highlight. So
yeah, the Gunther and
Gunther J interaction was good. That was good.
And then Sammy. I think we were so used to Sammy's cutting such a good promo that it's just kind of like
a good talker.
Right. Were you surprised that there was no? Did I miss CM Punk somewhere?
I didn't see Punk.
You figured he's definitely going to be on the show next week because it's
I think he's going to be back next week. Because next week they're going to have all the chamber people like interact with each other and stuff, to hype up the match.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably going to start on SmackDown tomorrow.
Probably.
Yeah. So, all right, ready for talk about surprisingly 3 weeks in a row good Dynamite?
Yes, but first let's want to go over Grand Slam real quick. Because,
yes, thank you for reminding me that I had that written down and I totally forgot.
Yeah. So Grand Slam was also a really good show. Had to wait. The NBA Slam Dunk contest ran like 20 minutes late. So the show was Grand Slam was supposed to start at 10:30 Eastern time, and it ended up starting at about like 10:50. But the show ended up being pretty good. The opening tag match was a banger. Dude, that combo finisher from Omega to Ospreay, the one-wing angel with the hidden blade, him coming off the top rope, that was fucking dope. Mercedes and Harley had a great match. Fans were really behind her. She didn't win. It was a rough night for the Aussies until we got to Timeless because Harley lost. Buddy Matthews lost against Okada. Apparently hurt his ankle during the match. Hopefully it doesn't look like it's too serious.
What is up with AEW wrestlers getting to the ring and hurting their ankle? Because apparently it was during his entrance.
Yeah. Because he had to use crutches for a bit because Rhea was there. She was backstage, and then they kind of did a delayed honeymoon this past week. So he stayed behind with her. And
yeah, IWC was like, "Oh my God, Rhea's in an AEW show." I'm like, "It's her husband, jack off."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and the street fight was fine. That was my least favorite match. Weird. I was expecting the babyfaces to win that match. So now people are wondering, does that mean Copeland's actually going to beat Moxley for the title at Revolution? I don't know. But then the main event was great. Mariah May, Timeless, Tony killed it. The finish was a surprise. I think they were going to have a rubber match. And if you've seen the spoilers for Collision, they're definitely setting up a rubber match.
Yeah.
So, like, Mariah May and Tony are not finished just yet. There's one more, which makes sense. But happy for her winning the title in her home country in front of friends and family. Awesome moment for her. So Saturday night was a great night for wrestling between Vengeance Day and Grand Slam.
Yeah. Grand Slam, I thought was a little bit not as good as Vengeance Day.
I still like Vengeance Day a little bit more. It's like I would say like Grand Slam was good, where Vengeance Day was very good.
Right. Yeah, because I think JD from New York kind of put it, and I know people always say he's a WWE stan or whatever. He always talks crap, but he didn't talk crap. He basically was just saying, and he kind of had a point of like,
and he's very harsh on the regular NXT week.
Right. He was just like Vengeance. He kind of was like Vengeance Day is just a little bit better because it was more. It had a lot more build around it, and it felt like a pay-per-view where the Grand Slam felt like a house show for Australia.
And I wasn't the only one who noticed that the ring was smaller than usual.
I didn't care. Like I think
it wasn't a big deal, but I noticed it.
No. Yeah. I mean, I always noticed. I mean, always from the old WCW tapes, they always had a smaller ring.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the luchadors always looked really good because it was a smaller ring, so they could fly around a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't give a shit. I thought that was just.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but a lot of
people if everyone talking shit about the show, the biggest thing is the ring smaller than usual. I think you had a good show. I'll put it that way. So, all right, let's move on to Dynamite.
Here's a recap of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. We open the show with a promo off between MJF and Hangman Page. A lot of good words were shared, each running each other down. In the end, MJF asked Hangman what he can do that is MJF can't. And Hangman Page said, "I am real." He spit in Hangman's face to get him to try to attack him, and he had to help back. Christopher Daniels came out after he attacked security to calm him down. And then the match between the two of them was made official for AEW Revolution. Then we had a six-man tag, the Patriarchy taking on the Ops. Samoa Joe Company picking a victory with Hook making Nick Wayne tap out to Red Rum. Chris Jericho cut a promo in the back saying he was going to have to teach Bandito a lesson, challenged him to an RH title match at Collision. Then we had a street fight between Powerhouse Hobbs and Big Bill. Despite Brian Keith getting involved, Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Big Bill to pick up the victory. The Murder Machines, Brian Keith and Lance Archer, Don Cass finally challenged the Hurt Syndicate to a match at Collision for the tag team titles. They confirmed the announcement that Double or Nothing was going to be in Phoenix this year. Then Timeless Tony Storm with Luther came out to cut a promo saying that she had vanquished Mariah May, and now that she's champion again, she needs a challenger. She told everyone from Willow Nightingale down to Wendy Ricker to step up and give her a challenge because she is timeless. They announced Gabe Kill from New Japan would appear on Collision this week. Willow Nightingale was being interviewed by Renee in the back, complaining about Marina Shafir and Death Rise attacking her last week. Well, it happened again. Marina Shafir came in and laid her out. Her and Moxley hijacked the camera and took it out into the ring. He ranted about Copeland, saying that he was going to finish the job at Revolution. Jay White came out to provide a distraction, allowing Copeland to attack from behind. They were able to get one up on the Death Riders. Cope vowed to take out each of the Death Riders out one by one, so Moxley won't have anyone to protect him at Revolution. It'll be just the two of them one-on-one. Mercedes Monet was interviewed in the back, saying she was done with puppets, and that then a video of Momo Watanabe aired, saying that she was going to use her title shot she won to challenge Mercedes for the TBS Championship. Mercedes was happy about that. Then we had Chris Statlander taking on Megan Bayne. Penelope Ford came out and distracted Statlander, shoving her off the top rope. and that allowed Megan Bain to hit her with an F5 to pick up the victory. The two did a beatdown on her afterwards, and Thunder Rosa came out to make the save. Max Caster says he's deterred about losing the open challenge so far and issued another one for Collision. Ricochet came out to cut a promo. Prince Nana interrupted. They exchanged words, and he wanted the jacket back, but Swerve told him no, tried to take it from him, and mocked him. Then we had our main event match. Winner would face Takeshita for the International Championship next week. Former champions Robert X. Strong taking on Orange Cassidy going one-on-one. The rest of the Undisputed Kingdom was at ringside. Orange picked up the victory with the Orange Punch on Strong. Afterwards, Don Cassidy attacked Orange in the form of Takeshita and Mark Davis. Kenny Omega ran out to make the save, and the two fought off Don Callis' family and stood tall to close out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
Am I caring about the Death Riders now?
Not as much, but at least it's being booked a little bit better, this whole storyline.
Yeah, like it's flowing a lot better.
Yeah.
But the Hobbs match, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. The opening segment with MJF and Hangman Page, that was excellent. I'm all hyped up for that match now.
When MJF cares,
yeah, you can tell the difference.
Hangman is always solid. You don't realize how good Hangman is until you put him in these type of like him and Swerve, and now him and MJF are just like, yeah, he's got that gear, he's got it.
Yeah. I mean, this show wasn't as good as the last couple of shows, but it was still an entertaining show. Just a little bit below the recent ones. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with Tony or who is helping him book the show, but please keep it up because this is the best Dynamite's been in a while. So please keep it up, please. Especially we've got the Revolution coming up here soon.
Yeah. What do you think about the Ops' new music?
I like it. I thought I dug it.
Yep. I like the way I like the way the match was, where Christian was basically like,
he's basically using Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian as cannon fodder and being a dirty coward. It's like that was on point. It's like I like the Ops. It's like I could see them challenging for the trios titles. Wouldn't mind them winning. It's like feels like either them or maybe Undisputed Kingdom may get their hands on them at some point, depending on what happens. But no, that was good. Let's see. Okay, one of the few. Did you find it weird, the whole interaction after Thunder Rosa made the save for Chris Statlander? Something seemed like was botched or not executed right.
That match, I was so into that match, and then that ending, and I was like, what the fuck was that? That was awkward.
That was very awkward.
Like, Thunder was like, here comes with a chair. And it
looked like someone like forgot to do what they were supposed to do. Yeah. And they were trying to figure out how to keep it going. It was really weird. Yeah.
That was weird. Because other than that that Megan Bain Chris Statlander match was
that match was fun. I guess there's an alliance between Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. Okay. But so that's probably set up a tag match between them. I'm fine with that. Nice to see Thunder Rosa on Dynamite for a change instead of being on Collision. Right. But that was. I was like, what's going on here? It was weird. And I forgot to mention this, but this is where Tony Khan like overbooks things. Like, okay, during Grand Slam, forgot to mention it. Kenny Omega challenged Takeshita for the international title at Revolution, and Ospreay challenged Fletcher to a steel cage match. Okay. Right after he does that, he announces that he's having this number one contender match between Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong, both former international champions. Winner will face Takeshita for the title, and then the winner will go face Kenny Omega. Do you really think Takeshita's will lose the title after him and Kenny's history and him challenging for the title after what happened at Grand Slam? No. Then why are you wasting our time, Tony, with putting on matches that leading to something that we know is not going to happen?
I don't know.
See, this is where you're overthinking it. It's like, now if this was about like the Continental title, that would make perfect sense. Thankfully the match was entertaining. And the ending didn't surprise me, so it worked out. But it's like Tony. Sometimes you're overbooking things here, dude. It's like you gotta take a step back.
So, did Ricochet cut a good promo?
That was one of the better ones he's cut. I wouldn't say it was a great promo.
Like for Ricochet standards, I thought that was a pretty good promo. And
Prince Nana, I think, definitely helped him along there.
It helped interaction. A lot. He can really find the part.
No, Prince Nana's a good talker, so that kind of helped. That kind of helped things. It's like Ricochet's trying. I'm liking the feud. I'm glad. I appreciate he's going all out with this heel persona. It's like, but just keep working on the mic skills. Well, some people are kind of hoping they bring in Samantha to be his mouthpiece in a heelish way, which would be kind of interesting, given how popular Samantha is. I don't know. It's like,
right. I don't know. I liked how they didn't take their time. Like here comes Timeless. Spotlight. She's awesome. Who wants to challenge me? Boom. Done. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need this long whatever.
Exactly.
They kept it. Because sometimes people are like, oh, they didn't let her talk enough. You didn't need it. You didn't need her to talk for 8 years.
Yeah.
You didn't. She's timeless, guys. You don't need her to cut a promo. She's timeless. But no, I mean,
I see some new people in the chat. Appreciate you interacting. We don't highlight what you're saying. It's like someone be a little creative with the Joe Hendry song there.
Yep. And he apparently, speaking about that, Elijah's now with TNA.
Yeah, apparently, he showed up tonight. He teamed up with Joe Hendry. You know, that pairing makes sense. They're with their musical sticks. So, apparently, I saw SRS. He showed up and helped Joe Hendry against the Colognes of all people, which is another surprise.
Yeah, but
apparently, Elijah has signed with TNA.
Someone already posted of Kevin Owens like it was a picture of him like throwing like a TV screen or something. It's like Kevin Owens, he finds out as a third member of that family he has to deal with.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good there. But no, like overall, I thought it was a really good show. I mean, you had an amazing, and then plus Christopher Daniels, coming out.
What you do with Hangman afterwards? That's like, yeah,
that was This is why all this was so good.
Yeah,
it's like. See, sometimes this is why we like AEW, because they let the guys cook and don't try and overproduce them and give them succotash and shit to say. Yeah.
And I'm pleased, Edge, Adam Copeland, please take out the Death Rider lackeys one by one. I think we'd all appreciate
it. Yeah. Overall, any other things you want to talk about before you ended up with NXT?
No, I think that covers it for Dynamite. A solid episode. Not as great as the last couple weeks, but still entertaining. So I'll give it a thumbs up.
All right.
Let's talk about, because oh my god, so much stuff happened on NXT. Especially people figured that Ricky may have a different name, but thankfully it's not too different. Even though some people are still complaining about it, we'll talk about it.
Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Oh, when the Saints come marching in. Anyway. I hope it's televised. Anyway.
All right, here's a recap of this week's episode of NXT, the fallout from Vengeance Day, back at the PC in Orlando. Obafemi came out to open the show, calling out the new mystery faction for attacking him at Vengeance Day. But instead of them showing up, someone else did. It was TNA's X Division champion Moose, fellow big man. Crowd chanted, "Holy shit." The two had a stare down. Moose said that he's the only one who can be able to take out Obafemi. Obafemi says that them one-on-one needs to happen. And so a match between these two has been teased. Oh boy. Earlier they showed Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors getting into it with Ava and Eddie Thorpe. They, on behalf of Andre Chase, challenged Eddie to a match later in the show. So then we had the number one contenders match. Winner would get a shot at Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's North American Championship. Jada Parker versus Carmen Petrovic versus Kalani Jordan. The continued issues between Jada and Kalani allowed Carmen to roll up Kalani Jordan to pick up the victory and earn the title shot. Jada and Kalani continued to beat and attack each other after the match. While Carmen and Shantae Adonis were celebrating her win, Fatal Influence came out and attacked her. They took out Ashante with a chair shot to the back and continued to beat her down during the commercial break. They started to cut a promo when Stephanie Becker finally came out in response. Julia came out to back up her friend and ally. They got into it with Fatal Influence. They were outnumbered, so Jordan Grace came out to make the save to even the odds, helped clear the ring, and issued a challenge for the babyfaces to take on Fatal Influence in the main event as a 6-woman tag. Stacks told the rest of the D'Angelo family he will deal with Sean Spears on his own tonight. Then we had women's tag match, Soul Ruka and Zarya taking on Metaphor. Zarya and Soul Ruka picked up the victory with a F5 into a Snow Snatcher combo to win. Wesley was getting interviewed in the back when he was interrupted by the arrival of Ricky Starks. Still not saying his name. More on that in a moment. He came up the ring to sign his contract with Ava. He cut a promo, but was interrupted by Ethan Page, saying that he's following his playbook. Ricky's like, nah, I'm on a whole nother level. I'm here to flip this place upside down. And then Javon showed up to attack Ethan Page. They brawled out of the ring. Ricky was interrupted once again by Wes Lee, saying that he warned him that he was going to teach him a lesson and basically challenged him to a match next week. Ricky accepted, knocked him out of the ring when he tried to sneak attack him, and then signed the contract. And it was revealed that he will be going by Ricky Saints in NXT. The No Quarter Catch Crew was interrupted an interview with Fraxium to call out the Hardy Boys for a match next week in Cincinnati when they're on the road. The Hardys sent in a video accepting the challenge and told Fraxium to watch it ringside and see the GOAT tag team in action. Ricky went into the back and found a bunch of people laid out, obviously attacked by the new mystery faction, with Ricky State saying that this place is indeed crazy. Then we had Sean Spears taking on Stax. Sean Spears picked up the victory with C4. Lexus King ran into Moose in the back and challenged him to an X Division title match for next week's show in Cincinnati, his hometown. Andre Chase took on Eddie Thorpe. Uriah and Kale tried to wear Chase U stuff to try to cheer Chase on, but it didn't work, and Eddie Thorpe picked up the victory with his Impaler DDT. After the match, Trick Williams appeared on the Tron, saying that this stuff between him and Eddie is not over yet. It will be over when he says it's over. Ethan Page interrupted Ava talking with Ricky in the back, playing about Javon attacking him. Javonka and Wesley also came in, and Ava said, let's make things a little bit tidier. And she said that Wesley and Ethan Page would team up against Ricky and Javon in a tag match next week. Then we had the main event, Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace, and Julia taking on Fatal Influence. Great stuff from the ladies. The babyface picked up the victory with Jordan hitting her Juggernaut Driver finisher on Jasmine Nix. The three stood tall, but it was definitely clear Jordan is eyeing both Julia and Stephanie's titles. We cut to the back showing that the Mystery Faction had struck again, this time trashing Ava's office, laying out Robert Stone, and spray painting "No One Is Safe" on the wall. And that closed out the show. So that's all that happened on this week's episode of NXT. So much to talk about. Oh my goodness. This episode was loaded.
So where do you want to start?
Well, you pick where you want to start with this episode.
All right, so that just don't bury the lead. Ricky Saints.
Yeah, let's start with the whole Ricky stuff.
Okay. I don't mind it because that way he can still keep Ricky Starks and they don't have to. I don't know. I don't mind
it. It's a very obvious tribute to New Orleans Saints. He's from New Orleans.
Right.
It still matches Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints. They're very similar. He's still Ricky, so I don't mind.
No.
It's like,
but I did like that whole thing reminded me of like the old school WWF like opening segments where it was like, oh, this guy comes out, and then this guy comes out, and then this guy comes out.
Yeah, and I loved Ricky had some great lines. I loved his I loved it where he's like, I loved his line when Javon attacked Ethan. He's like, "Oh, he's about to eat."
Yeah,
and then Ricky, it's like, why? Hey, Ava, why is everyone so angry around here?
Right. And then and then in the back, he's just like, "This is what the heck? What's going on?
It's crazy."
Yeah. No, Ricky.
Dude, I thought of you as soon as he interacted with you. I was like, oh, Ricky versus Wesley. Please give it to me.
No, as soon as he walked in and kind of gave that look to Wes, and I was like, uh oh, we're gonna get Ricky West starting off. Okay. So that's a great opening feud for Ricky too. With Wes. So Ricky and Javon versus Ethan Page and Wesley next week. Yes. Ricky is exactly what NXT needs right now.
Yes, exactly what the men's division needs, especially with Trick on the verge of leaving. They need a big star besides Obafemi in the division, and Ricky is that. He's going to help carry this men's division for a while. Mm-hmm. This was the perfect place to put him. So this gives him a chance to really shine, and he's going to be NXT champion at some point, probably later this year.
Oh yeah. He's what they call absolute.
Yeah. It's like very, very happy for him. Great promo work. Fans are excited. All the interactions was fantastic. Very nice nod with the AEW stuff between Ethan and Ricky and stuff. I love how he's like, you're following my playbook.
Right. Following my playbook. You knew they were going to say something.
Right. I loved all that.
Yeah.
And then the ones you were really excited about, Moose. X Division champion showing up.
Well, when that song hit, I thought it was the four guys. I thought that was going to be their because I'm not used to what Moose's entrance is now.
Yeah, because it's been forever. I wasn't sure who it was at first either.
And then it was all black. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, that. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's Moose. Because even the crowd, you can tell, like even the crowd was just like, who?
And then when they realized it was Moose, they're like going, holy shit.
Yeah. Because like once Moose came on, once Moose's name showed up, people were like, oh shit, we're getting it. We're getting Moose and Nova.
Move for the crossover, having this kind of a house fight set up between Moose and Obafemi.
This thing's gonna cook.
Yeah, and they throw that on Impact tonight, as we mentioned earlier. Obafemi showed up on Impact to attack the system. And he's teaming up with the Hardys in a 6-man against the system next week. So that's the other thing. The Hardys. The Hardys are coming back to WWE via the TNA crossover. They're going to be on NXT against the No Quarter Catch crew.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm excited for Tavion and him. They're going against the Hardys, man.
Right, the Hardys.
And they're teasing Hardys versus Fraxium. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Do you think that's a stand to deliver?
It might be.
Could be. Okay, here's a shocker. Petrovic getting over on Jada and Kalani.
That was an interesting choice. I didn't mind that because I was like, I didn't want to, because whoever was going to win this match is going to lose to Stephanie. Stephanie just won the title. She's not. It's like so whoever is winning this has no chance in hell of winning the.
So I think they were progressing the No Adonis and Petrovic thing,
they're giving
also
they're giving Carmen an opportunity to shine a little bit while furthering the Jada Parker Kalani feud at the same time.
Yeah, because even though Petrovic has been stuck in mid card purgery, you can tell they still really see something.
They do definitely see something. They see something in all three of those women. There's a reason why they were chosen for the number one contender match.
Right.
What I found interesting was I was like watching the stuff in between week. I was surprised how long that beat down on Carmen Petrovic lasted. And like I was like, is anyone going to come out to help her?
I know.
You can see it. Shantae's like, is anyone going to help my girl?
Shante, sorry, I said no Adonis earlier. I'm at Ashanti.
Like,
but
help my girl because
you could have broken up. You could break him up, dude.
And when he
you can totally go in there and separate him.
Then they laid him out with the chair.
Right. It just took forever.
Well, it's because he doesn't want to, physically assault the ladies, which is understandable.
Right. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But then they assaulted him.
Yep.
I realized why Soul and Zarya were off screen is to get this chemistry down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because were you surprised that they went over?
I was very surprised at one of the Meta Girls, and that definitely feels like that's leading to something, maybe a tag team title shot for the two, which is pretty dope.
Yep. And that F5 to the Soul Snatcher was awesome.
I'm loving how they're doing the F5 into the Soul Snatcher combo. I'm digging it. It's growing on me. This odd couple relationship that they got going on, it's working on me. I'm getting into it.
Yeah. So, and then also that has Sol Roca done that pin before where the back handspring and just lands on their chest?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
That was neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're finally getting somewhere with the tag division. As soon as I love how they set up the main event. I was like, oh my god, that's talk about a mismatch. You got Jordan Grace, Stephanie McCurry, and Julia on one side against Fatal Influence. Talk about a mismatch.
if no one knew who Jordan Grace was before,
that
when she's holding and then does the clothesline into that, what's that called again? What's that move called?
Her finisher.
Yeah.
It was called the Juggernaut Driver in TNA, but I think they're calling it probably like the Grace Driver or Jordan Driver.
Because Samoa Joe does it same finisher, doesn't he?
Oh no, she did the Muscle Buster.
Muscle Buster, yeah, because that's what Samoa Joe's finish is.
Well, it used to be one of his finishers. It's like it's more of like it's more of a big transition move now. But that Muscle Buster used to be his finisher way back.
Yeah, but that clothesline to while she's holding her doing in the Muscle Buster is like, and then plus people don't realize how quick she is in the ring. Jordan's a 5-tool player, guys. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, and plus, hey, Fatal Influence still looked good in this match here.
They did.
That knee, it's like JCJ got to look really good. That knee strike she delivered to that was a hell of a knee strike she delivered to Jordan Grace. I was like, that's like on the level of like Julia and Kenny Omega level knee strike. I was impressed. Stephanie did a good job. She played face and peril a lot longer in this match than I was expecting, but she did it very well. And all of them got to shine. Julia got a hot tag, and then Jordan got the hot tag and got the win. And I like how she's eyeing both the titles, kind of like, who do I go after first? You kind of think it's like, so they're really teasing what's going to happen between the three of them. So it's like, it's very exciting. I mean, they loaded up the Cincinnati episode next week because we got Hardys versus No Quarter Catch Crew, Stephanie McCurry versus Carmen Petrovic, and we got a TNA title defense as well as Moose defends the X Division title against Heritage Cup champion Lexus King. Even though it's in Cincinnati, I don't think it's going to go well for Lexus King next week against Moose.
No, I don't think so. I
like how he basically talked himself into the match. It was like you really want to take me out? Okay, I'll wreck you next week.
Okay. Can you help me out on who those two guys are that are now supporting Andre Chase? I'll
pull up their names here real quick. because it feels like they're finally getting somewhere. It's like they're trying to revive Chase U. They're trying to help Andre Chase get his groove back. I
just like how they're literally like NXT is just recycling gimmicks. So it's like Andre Chase is now like Bad Luck Baron or Down His Luck Baron Corbin, and we've got 4 guys now or like basically Shield 2.0 with that. And I thought that these guys were going to turn on Andre Chase and side with Eddie to give Eddie some backing, but no, they're just trying to revive the Chase U stuff.
Cale Dixon and Uriah Connors are the 2 guys.
Okay. So
it feels like it's finally leading somewhere.
Yeah.
I think this is leading, I think, eventually the return of Thea Hale and probably Riley Osborne as well. Because unfortunately Duke Hudson is gone. So
yeah. But no. Oh gosh, dang it! There was something else I wanted to. Oh, have they officially said what the name of Sean Spears' stable is?
No, they still don't have like an official name.
I dig it. Like when he had his entrance with all 4 of them, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now. They all have it. It looks like a legit group and not just a bunch of random.
With Izzy Dave, it feels like more like a stable now. Yeah.
So the match was okay. I'm not big on Stacks as a wrestler yet.
He's fine. He's all right. It was more just set up about the feud between them. So Tony's going to eventually be back to get his revenge.
Where are they going to go with Kalani now? I feel like she's in that purgatory stage.
That's a good question. We'll see where things go after this feud with Jada Parker is done.
Right, because she was teased being heel, but then she's not heel. I don't know.
She came out kind of not so heelish in this match for the match.
Her gear, like how bright that purple was and stuff, and the way her hair was, that screamed babyface to me.
Yeah, I was kind of like, she's acting a little baby. It's a little weird. Oh, if it was a mistake, I don't know. Excuse me. But Jesus, I'm just excited. I'm excited. NXT's got me excited because it's like we got Ricky and Jordan Grace on the roster now. It's like men's division got a huge boost in the arm with Ricky, and Jordan Grace just makes the women's division even more insanely stacked than it already was with Julia and Stephanie at the top. So it's like
NXT didn't, as far as the women's division, they didn't need Jordan Grace, but I'm not complaining about it. Whereas the men's division needed Ricky. Yeah.
Ricky definitely, the men's division definitely needed the infusion of Ricky to give it some juice outside of Obafemi's dominance right now. So and it's fine for Jordan because it's like it makes sense that it's like they don't have anything for her on the main show with Mania being pretty much almost set in stone probably at this point. So better have her go down to NXT and just hang out with the awesomeness and we get some awesome matches as a result.
Yeah, because that's what they were saying about Ricky too, is just the fact that like there was really nothing for him right now because of they kind of have all the Mania stuff already kind of figured out.
And but I was like, they both get lost in the shuffle anyway because it's like almost it's better that they're going to NXT now where they can shine.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited. I'm very excited. It's like, and the weird part is that no Roxanne or Corey did all of the show either, and it's like it was. I'm like, no, the Prodigy,
and the ratings are really good for NXT as far as like where they're doing what they're doing right now.
They're doing pretty well right now on CW.
Yeah. It's like obviously like the bigger superstars will pull it up, but no, they're doing it with strictly what they have now, and they're still doing a solid rating, which means they're putting on solid shows week to week.
Yeah. So Wesley and Ricky Saints, that's going to be awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he's going to get into the NXT title picture, so this is the first good feud for him. Going to have some banger matches. It'll be interesting to see where things go with Roadblock because Stephanie is doing the title match against Carmen next week and not at Roadblock. So we'll be interested to see what kind of matches we're going to get at Roadblock. We're probably going to get like a Tony D, Sean Spears match at Roadblock, I would assume.
Yeah, I would expect so.
So, but what are you going to do with Oba? Well, maybe. Well, they're not doing him versus Moose at TNA's pay-per-view, so maybe they'll probably do that at.
I was thinking Oba and Moose at Roadblock,
because that's a way to get ratings. It's like, you know, having that because I don't see them stretching that out to stand and deliver. It's like, because I'm like I'm hoping for one more match between Oba and Trick before Trick gets called up. So, but we'll see what happens, because the thing with Eddie Thorpe. Oh, I think I know exactly the stipulation next that's going to happen. On the way his dialogue hinted at it. Underground match. And Eddie has a history with underground matches. He remember that awesome underground match he had with Dijak last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Trick's going to challenge him to an underground match, and that'll probably happen at Roadblock.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be dope.
Their styles are definitely made for that type of match.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. All right. Well, yeah. But thank you all so much. It was a great show as far as across the board. Really good week of wrestling. One
other thing, I'm very interested to see where Cora's going to go once she's done with her part of the crossover and her title match with Slamovich, where she's going to fit back into the NXT title picture. Would you throw her at Julia, or would you throw her at a feud with Stephanie?
Depends on what they do with Jordan.
Probably.
Because if it's going to be Cora's going to go after one and Jordan's going to go with the other.
I think Cora's definitely going to get involved in that at some point after she's done with the dealing, going after challenging Slamovich. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like I'm wondering if we'll see if Roxanne's going to make a final appearance on NXT or not. It's like it feels like she's unofficially part of Raw at this point, like we're talking about. It's like with her being in Elimination Chamber. I fully expect to see the Prodigy on Raw this coming week because her and Bailey. What do you think would be better if Bailey and Roxanne happens at Stand and Deliver or on Mania proper?
It depends on. I mean, I don't care. Just do it.
Right. It's going to be awesome, but I'm very curious to see if it's going to be a Stand and Deliver match or a Mania match.
I just think if at WrestleMania you have Bailey at NXT and not on WrestleMania, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm leaning more toward Mania match.
Yeah, because
we've talked about it. Bailey said that she would love to do a Mania match with Roxanne, so make it happen.
Right. Yeah.
And what a way for Roxanne to move to the main roster by doing a Mania match with Bailey. It's like, this feud is her bridge to the main roster. This feud with Bailey.
Yeah. But yeah, and I thank Bailey for it. I love it. Yeah, no, I'm digging every second of Roxanne and Bailey.
Yeah, the interactions, even the online trolling now. It's like, yeah. But, so the future is bright for Roxanne.
Oh yes, it's always bright for Roxanne. She's a freaking prodigy. She's a golden prodigy. She is a money printing machine.
Yeah. I appreciated all the accolades Cole was listing off about Roxanne. During the match with her, it's like trying to make people like this is why she's awesome.
You're right. Yeah. No, that's their job. Their job is to get that person over through the television screen, and then they do it in the ring to back up what they're saying. For that. So, but thank you, Justin, again, as is always a pleasure. For you all that are just tuning in, this isn't the only show that we do here on the Ruckus channel. We also have our Rev Sports Wrap It Up every Wednesday. And then we have Game Dudes, which me and three of my buddies play co-op video games. Right now we're doing Divinity Original Sin Part 2. And we do that right before we go live for Rev Sports Wrap It Up on Wednesday. The March Madness is just around the corner. We're going to try and do a live bracket reaction to the college basketball reveal there, and then obviously we'll do our Bracket Bitches show. So if y'all want to join us for that, links down below. We are going to do our second episode of our Rev Book Club. On that, give me a second here. I got to pull up what the book is called. I keep forgetting this is bad TV. But let me see here as I pull up the book.
Oh, I forgot. There is another crossover match that's part of Sacrifice, which will be on March 14th for TNA, their pay-per-view. So besides Cora challenging Master Slamovich, Wesley and his new buddies, Tyson and Tyreek, are going to take on the Rascals and Ace Austin in a 6-man. So, ching!
Gotcha. That sounds good. The Space Between Worlds, guys, by
Yes.
Micah Johnson. Yes. So we'll be me and Soul, and then we'll bring some people on. That was a really cool first episode. So thank you all, Justin, yourself as well, for joining us to talk about.
Tuesdays morning was a great read.
It was a great read. It's emotional, so just so you know, but it's an amazing book. So shout out to that. But then, every weekly, as far as our weekly shows, we always have Resports wrap it up on Wednesdays, starting at 9 Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. And then following that, the next Thursday, you have myself and Justin break down the week that is, was, and will be in wrestling from 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Like I said, join us at patreon.com/RuckusTV if you want to get into the YouTube spaces. We'd love to help you out. Join us over there. Link down below for the Discord. We're over there talking about really anything and everything. So love to have you all over there as well. But on behalf of myself and Justin, I can never get that out correctly. Anyway, we will see you all next time.